Welcome back to the channel to another episode of Let 'Em Ride. In today's video, we have a nice preview for you of the NBA Finals, as well as leans for Game 1. Boston comes into this with home court advantage. Game 1 will be at the Garden Thursday, June 6th. The Celtics open up as 6.5-point favorites with the over-under sitting at 214.5. These two teams, they've had different paths to these finals. Boston had the best record in the league before February 1st, going 37-11. Dallas was middle of the pack in that time, 14th best, going 26-22. Since then, first and second in the NBA, however. Boston rolling at 39-9, Dallas right behind them at 36-15, and that's after that trade deadline accusation of Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington. Those trades right there, that transformed this team from being destined for the play-in to bona fide title contenders. Boston comes into these finals on a 7-game winning streak. They are 12-2 straight up in these playoffs, but they are only 7-7 against the spread. Their route to these finals, it has to be noted that each round of these playoffs that they've played, they have gone through a team that is facing some kind of injury to their star player. The Heat without Jimmy Butler in the first round, Donovan Mitchell struggling through injury in round 2, and Tyrese Halliburton struggling through injury in the conference finals. And while they swept Indiana in those conference finals, they didn't dominate in a manner that a sweep would typically indicate. Besides a double-digit win in Game 2, the other 3 games were decided by a total of 11 points. And there were all games that the Pacers held leads in the fourth quarter, and games that they could have and probably should have won, but mental errors did them in. Dallas, on the other hand, they're coming into these finals after 17 postseason games, sitting 12-5 straight up, 11-6 against the spread, and they have the third best spread differential among playoff teams. Mavericks are 11-1 in these playoffs when they score more than 100 points, and they have won 5 straight on the road. So the early perception heading into the finals is that the Celtics are struggling, the Mavs are clicking at the right time. The public is hammering Dallas plus 6.5. 78% of the money is on the Mavs to cover the spread. 55% of the handle is on the Dallas money line. Despite the easier route to the finals, Boston is still a great team, and this can't be forgotten. They are first through this postseason in net rating and sit almost 4 points higher than the next closest team in that regard. In their 2 losses in these playoffs, in the first 3 rounds, they shot uncharacteristically bad from 3 against the Cavs. They only went 23% in that loss. And then they gave up a Miami franchise playoff record, 53% shooting from 3 in their loss to the Heat. Both these defenses, they're stout. They're elite. They play good team D. It's going to be interesting to see how each of them adjust to each other's offense. Boston has a lineup that 1 through 5, they can create their own shot. They can shoot off the catch, or they can create shots for others. Porzingis, he should be a go as well. And if he's available and anywhere near himself, the spacing alone that he's going to bring is going to be a huge test for Dallas. The Mavericks' key to success has been their interior defense. They're giving up the 4th fewest points in the paint through these playoffs. But Boston has the outside shooting to counter this, and they can challenge and try to force the Mavs bigs out to the perimeter. That's where it's going to get a little sticky for Dallas. Boston has 2 bigs in Porzingis and Horford that they can both shoot from deep, and they used this en route to a 20-plus point blowout in the last meeting between these two. The Celtics utilized Kristaps in that game out of pick and pops, and he ended up shooting 4 of 8 from deep. He was able to pull Lively and Gafford out of the paint and open up the inside. Boston shot 69% from inside 14 feet in that game and on their way to 62 points in the paint. On the other side, the Mavs, they've utilized the corner 3 more than any team in the playoffs this year, ranking first in frequency and shooting them at a 40% rate. This puts pressure on help defense, and Dallas has been able to take advantage. They're able to move the ball out and find the open man. Boston loves to use Tatum as corner help to provide rim protection. They're going to need to adjust unless they want to see Dallas raining a steady dose of threes down on them. At the end of the day, the Celtics, they have the deeper, more well-balanced team. While Dallas, they boast the best player, if not the 2 best players on the court in Luka and possibly Kyrie. It's been well documented so far that Boston comes into these finals with a 3-day rest advantage over Dallas. They played 3 games fewer overall. But what I don't hear anybody talking about is that Dallas has a solid week off as well in between action. They've had plenty of time to get rest and heal up. An interesting trend, though, home favorites in Game 1 of the finals. With rest advantage, they are 8-2 straight up and against the spread. And they go 7-3 to the under for the total. They're winning by an average of 10 points and covering at an average spread of 6, which is right around where we're at here. But to me, this is still a tough one to call. I'm leaning Boston, but do I pull the trigger personally? With that spread, I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think I could probably stay off of this one, kind of feel this game out, and look to make a play in Game 2. that spread just looks a little too big for me to pull the trigger. Boston's definitely capable of covering that, but Dallas is definitely capable of keeping this one close and staying within the points. Part of me feels like Dallas could pull out a sneak win here and take game one. Like I said, this is kind of one where we just kind of got to wait and see, watch this one out and see how it goes, because it's going to be interesting to see who counters who more effectively, more efficiently. Both sides have strengths that play off the other side's weakness. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how these adjustments are made. As far as the total, I'll have to check it here again once we get a little closer to the game, but an absurd 98% of the handle was on the over. But the line opened at 214.5, and it's stayed that way despite that. All the money coming in on the over, and it hasn't really adjusted. I like the under. I'm leaning that way. If I do make a play on this game, that's probably where I'll go. Both teams bring elite defenses to the table. We talked about that earlier, and they both rank in the lower half of playoff teams in terms of pace. Boston is 12th out of the 16 teams, and Dallas is right there middle of the pack at 8th. But I see this and feel like this is going to be a slower type of game where each team is kind of feeling each other out and seeing how their adjustments and counteractions to each other's defenses are playing out. I think, it's going to be kind of a grind. And I think it's going to be fun and exciting as hell to watch, and I can't wait. Luka and Kyrie in the finals, Kyrie going against his old squad. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown with the narrative of, can they perform the clutch? Can they get the job done this year? Kristaps playing his old team in Dallas. So a lot of fun, interesting topics to go over in the series, and I can't wait to dive back in for game 2. So guys, I feel like I'm leaning Boston, and I'm leaning the under, like I said. Do I have the balls to pull the trigger on either of those? We'll see once we get a little closer to game time, see where the numbers are sitting at. Let me know in the comments. I want to know where you guys are. Where's your head? Where are you guys leaning? Do you agree with my analysis, or do you think I'm a complete fool and you plan to fade the hell out of me? With all my videos, guys, these are just analysis, and I by no means would ever try to convince anybody or persuade anyone to put their hard-earned money on anything just because I said I think it's going to go that way. Please take these videos as an opportunity to just gather loads of information, all in one source, as opposed to like having to scour through 15 different websites like I do on a regular basis. And with that info, you can choose to make your own well-informed decisions as to where you want to put your money. If you made it this far on the video, I appreciate you guys listening to me ramble on about ball. Drop a like, share, subscribe if you appreciate the video and analysis. Best of luck through these finals. I'll see you guys back for game 2.